Who is it?
Your neighbor, Miss Corey?
Hello, Mrs. Corey.
I hope I'm not bothering you too early.
No, I thought you'd be still in bed. I thought you were not feeling very well last night.
Well, your company made me feel so much better, my dear.
Well, please, come on in. I just made some tea. Would you like some?
Oh, yes, it wouldn't be too much trouble.
Not at all. Come on in.
Oh, what a lovely place you have.
Thank you.
Well, I hope my place looks half this nice once I get settled in.
Well, if you need any help, just let me know.
Why do you have that big bar on your door?
Oh, that's a police lock. Keeps intruders out.
Oh, a pretty girl like you must have a lot of fellas beating at that door.
All the wrong kinds of fellas. Like you said last night, this isn't the safest neighborhood in Monticello to live in, even for a police officer.
Oh, well, I guess an ounce of prevention.
Yeah, well, I had that lock installed when I had a very unsettling experience. Somebody came in and vandalized my place.
Oh, how awful.
Well, I think the lock is going to keep it from happening again.
Well, you can't be too careful, my dear.
Oh. I'll get the sugar. Until my father died, I didn't realize what a sheltered life I'd been leading. It was a little difficult for me at first, I guess, but I think I've done pretty well for myself.
I still can't imagine you on the police force.
Sometimes I think I have my father to thank for that, too.
He was a policeman?
No, he was a politician. Not a very honest one, I'm afraid. But I didn't find that out until after he was gone.
Oh, my.
Well, that's not really quite accurate. I think I had a feeling that he was dishonest even before that. In a way, I think that was probably why I decided to join the police force in the first place.
But you do like it.
Oh, yeah, I like it. It's a little, painful sometimes, but, when you see the worst sides of human nature. But then sometimes you see the best, and that makes it worthwhile.
But isn't the work dangerous?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's dangerous. You walk out on the street and you can stand a chance of getting injured or killed. I mean, you can stop a guy for jaywalking, and if he turns out to be a nervous, armed criminal, he could blow you away.
Oh, dear.
Well, oh, my gosh, I can't believe how much I'm talking. You're really a good listener, Mrs. Corey.
Well, old women don't have much else to do but listen, Deborah.
I don't have much else to do these days either. Time sure hangs heavy.
Oh, but what about your social life, my dear?
Social life? That's very complicated, too. Look, I don't want to talk about myself anymore. Tell me something about yourself.
Oh, no. You wouldn't find that one bit interesting.
Of course I would. I want to know something about my new neighbor. My new friend.
Thank you for that.
Tell me about your husband. Are you a widow, Mrs. Corey?
I lost my husband, yes.
I'm sorry.
He didn't die, however. I lost him to another woman.
Oh, I see.
It happened a long time ago, of course. But it seems like only yesterday. Yes. I tried my best to keep him, but I was fighting a losing battle.
Well, have you ever thought that maybe he wasn't worth fighting over?
When I met him, I was young and beautiful, just like you. But youth, beauty, you can't hold on to those things. Even you won't, my dear. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
No, that's true, of course.
Even the woman he fell in love with lost them. Almost overnight. You see, she became ill. She became a weak, sickly, gray little creature.
Awful.
Yes, of course. And yet, how fitting, wasn't it? How satisfying. Oh, forgive me. I shouldn't remember old bitterness.
That's right, you shouldn't. Mrs. Corey, you should think of the present and of the future.
And they both look much brighter to me now. Now that I've made a new friend.
Yes, I know. Well, now maybe we should get back to work, huh?
Yes.
Chief Mallory, I'm sure you will agree that the business of selling drugs is bad enough without having the pushers invade our schoolyards and peddle their poison.
Now, that report that Councilman Willoughby sent to the mayor doesn't contain any information that this office isn't already well aware of.
But he did make it seem as though very little is being done to correct the problem.
The man was just elected to office. He said these things because he wanted his name in the headlines. Now, if I could simply go down to every schoolyard and round up these punks, don't you think I would?
Well, now, how do you account for the fact that there are so few arrests?
The people who sell these drugs know the risk they're taking, and they play it very, very safe.
How do they operate?
All right. They show up in a schoolyard one day giving away free samples. They tell the kids if they don't use this stuff, they just aren't with it. One kid takes a hit, tells his friends how great it is, and before long, peer pressure has every kid popping pills just to be cool. But too many of our young people's lives are going down the drain. I've got to do something about it.
The report also mentioned that when arrests are made, most of the alleged pushers are back out on the streets in a matter of hours after they've just been taken into custody.
Yes, I know. But I'm joining forces with Logan Swift in requesting that our judges refuse granting bail in these kind of drug cases for what little good it's going to do me.
Well, I'm sure that Logan is very concerned about this.
In fact, I'm going to meet with Logan this week. We're going to try and devise a plan by which anyone indicted for a drug-selling charge can be prosecuted almost immediately. I can't impress upon you how much I want to see these pushers off our streets.
Oh, Chief, I appreciate your intentions. But aren't you going to have an awful lot of legal red tape to cut through?
I'm sure I am, but I'm going to do my best. Excuse me.
Oh, yes.
Hello. That's very interesting. I want to meet Hayes. Have Calvin bring him right up. Seems like we've had a prowler around the department.
Here?
Calvin Stoney was just picking up some arrest reports from Detective Saxon's office. He found a young punk named Benny Hayes snooping around.
Well, now I wonder what he was hoping to find.
That's a very good question. I'm going to ask him just that when Calvin brings him in here.
Oh, well, you're going to be busy. Let me get my stuff together.
No, please stay. This could be very useful to you in your report on the problem of drugs in our schools. You see, you're going to have a chance to meet one of these pushers we've been talking about. Just how did he get into the squad room?
Well, Benny's one of our regular customers. He's around so much, I guess everybody thought we just hauled him in for more questions and he was on his way out again.
If you don't mind, I gotta go home.
Oh, you sit down. What have you got to do? Get your orders ready for tomorrow's delivery?
My flowers, yeah.
Talk to me, Hayes. Tell me what you were doing snooping around Saxon's desk.
You want to know the truth? Okay, don't tell anybody. Deborah is hung up on me. Yeah. I really turn her on. We had a little meeting arranged, if you know what I mean.
You tell me another story like that and I'll book you for trespassing. You ever spend a night in the drunk tank?
Hey, listen, all I wanted to do was talk with her, honestly.
Or were you trying to see if she had any information on her desk pertaining to your case? Something you could make disappear, perhaps?
No.
Your information, Mrs. Carr. Benny is presently under an indictment. He was picked up 2 weeks ago by Detective Saxon for possession of a large quantity of marijuana.
I hope you're enjoying the show, lady.
How about showing a little respect, then?
If it was up to me, I'd take you downstairs to one of our cells, toss you inside, and just forget about you.
You don't scare me.
I'm going to take a personal interest in your welfare, Hayes.
Well, don't do me any favor.
I'm going to see to it one of my officers keeps a constant watch on you.
Thanks.
You're not going to be able to sell chewing gum to a school kid.
I wouldn't sell chewing gum. It's bad for your teeth.
I find out that you've been so much as walking past a schoolyard before your trial, I'm going to come down on you so hard, you aren't going to see sunlight except when they take you out of your cell for a little exercise period.
Hey, innocent people don't go to prison.
Look, I have seen Detective Saxon's report on you, and unless that high-powered attorney of yours happens to also be a miracle worker, you're as good as convicted.
The only reason your case looks so good is because Saxon made it up.
What are you talking about?
That red-headed detective got it in her mind that I was dealing, not that it was the truth. She asked me for a piece of the action. I told her she was nuts.
Watch what you say, Hayes.
She planted that grass on me. You ask her about it, Chief.
You get him out of here, Stoner.
Why not?
Because I said no.
It'll be a
kid.
simple little luncheon, all right? Me and Rhonda, you and Valerie.
You're such a big man with the women. Why don't you take them both?
Nice thought, but it won't work. Look, Rhonda is used to paying her own way, but I just met Valerie, and besides, she's a real knockout, and she is dying to meet the new district attorney. Now, since you've been out of practice, I think that you ought to use plan number 4 here.
Plan 4?
Yeah, sure. You see, the first part, that's you in this case, you tell her about how difficult the marriage breakup was and how lonely you are and how difficult the whole thing was. And then the second part, that's Valerie right there. Well, then she starts smothering you with sympathy, but you hold out for tender, loving care.
I think I'm capable of getting my own dates, thank you.
Hey, I'm getting $20 a piece for these from the guys around here. Now, I'm giving this to you free.
Appreciate the thought. Not interested. Yes, Maggie. She is? Well, no, send her right in.
You know, maybe you're right. You know, plan number 2 might be better for you.
I tell you what, you find me a slightly younger version of a lady this classy, and I will take you up in 1 second flat. Come in, Geraldine.
Logan.
Nice to see you, though I was a little surprised. I wasn't expecting you till Friday.
My plane landed less than an hour ago, but I was so anxious to see you, I decided to stop by here first.
It's very flattering. It's only been a week.
Oh, my dear, Washington is a changing place. Every time I make a trip there seem to be fewer and fewer familiar faces.
Well, here's a familiar face you should know, Cliff Nelson.
Oh, yes, Mr. Nelson. How nice to see you again.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine, Mrs. Saxon.
Yes, I'm sure it is. Well, I was hoping we could have lunch and talk.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea. I happen to have reservations over at the Fisherman's Net. We could all go together.
You got a date with Rhonda and Valerie?
Believe me, Rhonda's figure would not be hurt at all by missing lunch. And you're the one who's standing up Valerie.
Now, Logan, if you've made other plans...
No, Cliff has made plans. I am going to be delighted to be joining you.
I see. I'll just have lunch with Rhonda and Valerie.
Shall we go?
Bye, boss. Nice seeing you, Mr. Saxon. Don't kid me, boss. You know exactly who to have dinner with.
Are you sure you didn't change your plans just to have lunch with me?
Positive.
From what Mr. Nelson said, I got the impression that you had a luncheon engagement.
No, he's trying to talk me into a blind date, that's all.
What's wrong with that? I would have understood perfectly.
Wasn't interested.
Why not?
You ever had a meal with Cliff Nelson? No, of course you haven't. Worst table manners in the Western Hemisphere. It's embarrassing.
Is that the only reason?
I'm not ready to date yet, that's all.
Logan, I know you've been terribly unhappy ever since your marriage breakup. But you can't live in a shell forever.
I'm fine.
It wouldn't do any harm to widen your circle of friends.
I'm making new acquaintances.
Oh, really?
Well, you've heard of our new chief of police, haven't you?
Oh, yes, of course. I can't recall his name at the moment.
Well, the man's name is Derek Mallory. He's a bit of a hard nose. At least that's the image he's working very hard at projecting.
Derek Mallory? Why does that name seem familiar to me?
Well, he dropped by the apartment the other evening. He seems nice enough, and we do have one thing in common.
What's that?
We're both coming off a bad marriage.
Mallory? I wonder if it could be the same one. I seem to remember he did have something to do with law enforcement.
Who? What?
Senator Townsend's son-in-law, or ex-son-in-law, I should say, since they're divorced. Is your friend divorced or just separated?
No, he's divorced.
His wife's name is Ivy. Did he mention that?
Yes, he did. He did mention it. Her name is Ivy. Do you know her?
Oh, my dear, I've known Ivy Townsend ever since she was old enough to be a flower girl. As a matter of fact, the senator invited me to the wedding, but I didn't go. It was at some remote place. Colorado, I think.
Mallory came here from Denver. That's where his last job was.
Well, that's strange. Is she in town, do you know?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Logan, I don't know this young man, but I do know that Ivy is a very attractive, intelligent young woman, and extremely charming.
Yeah, well, her charms didn't work on Mallory very well.
Well, my dear, I can tell you that the senator was extremely happy when he found out that his daughter had freed herself of her marriage.
Why was that?
Well, from what I hear, Ivy could well be classified as a battered wife. Apparently, your friend Derek is something of a brute.
It's been a long time since I've sat around and talked like this, Corey. I really had a good time. Come back anytime.
Oh, bless you, Deborah. Tomorrow you stop by my place and I'll make the tea.
It's a deal. And I'll look in on you later to make sure everything's all right.
Oh, bye, darling.
Bye-bye. Hello?
Are you lounging around in that sexy green outfit or the blue one? Oh, don't tell me. I don't want to fantasize.
Cliff, most people start out a phone conversation with a simple hello.
Oh, you must admit I got your attention.
What makes you think I'm going to be lounging around all day?
Well, I'll tell you, if I were suspended, that's exactly what I'd do.
No, I have a few other things to keep myself occupied.
Why don't I get suspended for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we could sort of occupy ourselves together.
Why are you calling me, Cliff?
Oh, well, I'm going to have a little dinner party tonight, and I thought you'd like to attend.
Oh, well, how little?
Well, if you don't come, I'll be dining alone.
I knew you were going to say that.
Look, you have to say yes, all right? Think of it as a farewell party.
Are you going somewhere?
No, not for me. It's for saying goodbye to Owen the Ancient, who left Monticello.
Look, Owen is coming back as soon as he finishes his business. Somebody's at the door, Cliff. I've got to go.
Another older man?
No, I doubt it. What do you...
Delivery.
No tip?
We do seem to keep bumping into each other these days.
Get out of here.
Hey, I don't want to hurt you. All I want to do is talk.
We have nothing to talk about.
Come on, give me a break. This isn't easy for me. Can I sit? I came here to say I'm sorry.
About what?
I know I've been giving you a pretty hard time the past few days.
You mean about knocking me down in the hall the other
You
day?
pull a gun on me. Listen, I know I've been a bad boy, but I've reformed. I've turned over a new leaf.
You expect me to believe that?
I came here to tell you I've retired. I'll never do anything bad again. I won't even cross against the light.
The only way you'd retire is if you thought you were making enough money selling dope to kids, but I doubt that.
Hey, listen, I don't want to go to prison. I'm afraid of the place. You know what they do to kids like me in the joint?
All right. Where did this repentant Benny Hayes come from?
Me and my old man had a little talk the other day. He said that maybe if I came to you and promised to behave, you might be willing to give me a second chance and not testify against me at the trial.
So was this before or after you shot him?
Hey, that was an accident. He was cleaning the gun and he shot himself.
You shot him because you were stealing money from his cash register and he put up a fuss.
You can't prove that!
Sit down. I know I can't prove it, because your father won't let me. But I'm going to nail you for possession, Benny. I'm going to prove that one in court. Now get out of here.
I got a pretty terrific lawyer. He says the most I'll get is probation, maybe 3 months at the most.
I'll see you in court, Benny. Goodbye.
Bye. Oh, this is nice.
No! Don't! Oh, Mrs. Corey. sorry.
Deborah, are you all right? I heard raised voices and then this terrible crash.
Yeah, I'm fine. Come on in. Just be careful of the glass.
Well, I remember you saying that your apartment had been broken into.
Yeah, no. This kid just came over and tried to... Just broke my face, that's all.
Oh,
Benny Hayes. The lowest of the low. Drug pusher.
oh my.
He deals drugs all over this neighborhood, even to the school children in the schoolyards. He even makes some of his transactions right here in our own hallway. So if you ever see him, you gotta let me know.
Oh, I certainly will.
Kid's a walking drugstore. He sells uppers, downers, doesn't even care who he sells them to.
Well, people like that should be in jail.
Yeah, well, we're trying our best.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I'm glad. I've always heard those things do terrible damage to people, don't they? They do terrible things.